Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Fernand here. Welcome back to another Rocket League ranking video, and in today's episode we're going to be ranking all of the Rocket Pass cars throughout the obviously entire session of Rocket League. Now, this is the 2023 version of ranking series. If you guys are not aware, we do this every single year where we rank black market decals, black market gold explosions, Rocket Pass cars, and Rocket Pass gold explosions, as well as colors, as well as there's one more, season rewards, but I know I said as well a lot there. But yeah, in this episode we're going to be ranking all of the Rocket Pass cars throughout the entire year. Now, one thing that I do really enjoy about this is I actually own every single Rocket Pass car that you can think of, not all the painted versions, but every single Rocket Pass car that's ever been in Rocket League, and I'm actually really proud of that. But yeah, as always, this is a ranking video, so you know, this is my opinion. You are more than welcome to disagree with it, but you know, at the end of the day, it is my opinion, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it in the comments down below. Let me know, because some of these are going to be pretty outlandish, I guess you could say, but don't worry, it's definitely a lot better than last year. For some odd reason, I ranked like the Honda Civic at like number 35 or something like that, and that was terrible. I regret that to this day. But yeah, definitely a lot different from last year, which is actually really exciting, because you know, it's not fun to watch the same video every single year when it's the same, you know, kind of design, or same kind of ranking. So yeah, pretty interesting. But yeah, you know, there are 43 Rocket Pass cars that we're going to be going over today. We are going to talk about this a little bit. My ranking all of my black market decals is an hour and 6 minutes long. I'm going to be posting these throughout the entire year, but we're going to have to start discussing what we're going to do next year, because these videos definitely cannot be an hour long. So yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit in the future, but for right now, make sure to use code SPRINTAN11 in the item shop, and if you guys have not hit the subscribe button, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to get up to date on my newest Rocket League videos. Now, it's actually really cool that I do own almost all of the Rocket Passes in this entire list. So at the number 43 spot, we do have to start with the Potato car. Season 6 Nomad. The only reason why I remember the season is because it was just a absolute mess of a season, in my opinion. Not many good things came out of that season, and this is definitely not the highlight of season 6. We have the Nomad car, also known as the Potato car. I tried to hype this up a little bit by creating like a van lifestyle, but it doesn't even look like a van. It literally looks like an actual potato. So yeah, it's got to be top. This was top last year. This is going to be top right back at it again. And actually, you know what? We're not even going to cut the next video to the next one. 42, we're going to have the Nomad GXT as well. This is another one of those that it's just, the spoiler does it absolutely no justice either. I'm sorry, but like, it's going to be, the Nomad series is the 43 and 42. Top tier, like terrible cars. So yeah, it's just starting off with an absolute like terrible car. Nothing good to say about this one. At the number 42, we have the Nomad, and 42, we have the Nomad GXT. At the number 41 spot, I do have to give a shout out to Rocket League for this one, for coming out with the first truck in the Rocket Pass. I guess you can call it a truck in a way. It's still just not good enough for me to honestly use in a actual game. I've used it a couple times. I think I have 0 wins with it. So I actually have no, oh wait, no, that's the hard bit. I have 4 wins with it. It must have been a video, and I don't think I even recorded a video of the GXT version. Not that this one is back to back. This one's actually a little bit farther down. But yeah, at the number 41 spot, we do have the Harbinger. Not really too much to say on this one. So yeah, at the number 41 spot, Harbinger. At the number 40 spot, we do have the Artemis, and then at the number 39 spot, we just have the one right next to it, the Artemis G1. So we'll talk about the Artemis just here in a second. So we have the Artemis normal one at the number 40 spot. I actually ranked this a lot lower because this was, I believe, the second season of the Rocket Pass, and it was something entirely new from the Rocket Pass. I mean, we had that amazing car that we will talk about very shortly, and then it kind of switched over to this, and everyone was like, what is going on? And actually, I used this car a lot. Like, I have 71 wins with it. So a lot of the older Rocket Pass cars, before I got into that GC area, I actually used all of the Rocket Pass cars that we got. So I used the Artemis, I used the Artemis G1. I have 101 wins with the Artemis G1, and then I have 193 wins with the GXT version. So I did use these cars quite a bit, and I will say though, they are still really nice. I really do like to use them from time to time. But at the end of the day, design wise, I feel like the Artemis deserves the 40 spot, and then the Artemis G1 deserves the number 39 spot. As you can see, there's not too big of a difference, just that painted, like, it looks like on the side there, like a side skirt. That's the only thing that's really changed, and maybe like a line down the middle. Other than that, this is still a cool looking car. It's just not something that I really do enjoy this season. Obviously, each season is different every year, and, you know, I will say this in every video, it is my opinions. You know, I'm sorry, you can argue with me in the comments down below, but at the end of the day, it is unfortunately my decision. But yeah, at the number 40 and 39 spot, we do have the Artemis and the Artemis G1 for not changing too much, looking really cool, but definitely not something that, like, you know, is to be hyped up about. At the number 38 spot, we do have the Outlaw. Now, I gave this one a lot of credit back then, or last year, just because I thought it was, again, something new and innovative, but I decided to completely switch that up this year and not focus so much on innovative or something like that. I honestly decided to focus it on, like, actual designs and how is it. Now, this one is definitely a little bit better than the Artemis in my opinion, because it does look a little bit cooler. It's kind of got that off-road feeling to it, but other than that, it's kind of weirdly designed and weirdly shaped. Again, it is a Rocket Pass car, so I'm not going to hate on it too much, but we've definitely had a lot better ones in the future as well as before this one as well. So yeah, at the number 38 spot, it's just going to have to be the Outlaw. At the number 37 spot, we do have the Nexus. Now, this one is going to be a little bit shocking because, like, a lot of people actually do really enjoy the, like, the normal Nexus version. I haven't grown into it like I did last year. Last year, I think it was around the 18, 19 spot. It was one of the cleanest non-GXT versions, but when I really take a look at it, it kind of, I don't know, it's not my style anymore, to be honest with you. So yeah, not really much to be said on this one. It kind of still looks like a smaller version of the potato car, but more like flat and more like a sports car, but it still just does not look that good. It's definitely better than the Outlaw as well as the Artemis series, but when it comes to just being at that lower level, I think the Nexus does a really good job of being number 37 spot. So yeah, at the number 37, Nexus. At the number 36 spot, we do have the Mudcat. Now, the Mudcat is definitely hard to put this high up in the ranks because it was actually one of the first off-roading cars that we got in the Rocket Pass, and the Mudcat, the series is really nice, but this first one, it just, again, it looks a little bit better than Nexus because it kind of looks like a Subaru in a way, but at the same time, it still looks a little bit wonky. I don't really know. At the number 36 spot, it's just going to be the first Mudcat edition. You know, it looks pretty good. Welcome to the first hot topic of this ranking video. Yes, I'm not making a mistake like I did last year with the Honda Civic. The Nissan Silvia is at the number 35 spot. This is the first generation one, remember, but I have some complaints about this car, okay? The G1 version or whatever, the RLE version, clean, superb, but when it comes to the first one, it looks like I'm driving a grandpa car or a grandma car. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you, it doesn't look tough at all. It just literally looks like my first car that I got at 16 years old and I needed to drive something from A to B, and it just does not look that good. I was almost gonna put this at like the number 40 spot over past Artemis, but I felt like, you know what, the Artemis isn't that good. This Nissan Silvia is a little bit better than that. But yeah, this is the first hot topic of the video, and I'm honestly standing by it. I really do not like this first version of the Nissan Silvia, so that's why I think it deserves the number 35 spot, because it looks like I would do something, like I would travel from A to B without even, like, it's my first car, basically. At the number 34 spot, we have the Volkswagen GTI, another one that might get some hate in the comments down below. So this is our second hot topic. It's better than the Nissan Silvia. That's all I gotta say. Now, I don't know if it's because I just do not like this Volkswagen GTI, like in real life, both in this game and in real life, like I just said, but it just, I feel like it's a minivan. Like, it feels like a smaller version of a minivan. I don't know why. Maybe it's, like I said, because I don't like the design of it in general. I can obviously have a personal taste on that one, but it's still better than the Nissan Silvia. But at the end of the day, I still feel like the Volkswagen GTI was just definitely, it was a nice relaxing car, but other than that, it doesn't give me, like, not Rocket League vibes in a way, but like it just doesn't it's not my favorite design of all time. So yeah, at the number 34 spot, we do have the Volkswagen Golf GTI, the normal version. At the number 33 spot, we do have the Chikara. This one also hurts pretty well because this is a really cool car. This was actually not one of the first I've stopped using, but meaning like it was a really cool car when it first came out. Now, last year in the comments center, I mentioned this kind of looks like a speed racer. Apparently, that's where Rocket League kind of got their inspiration from, and it does look really cool. That's why I'm ranking it at the number 33 spot. This is obviously the first generation one, so we're going to see a little bit more of it in the future, but at the end of the day, it's a very flat car. It does look like a speed racer, and it looks very intimidating out on the road. I think this first generation of the Chikara does look very good, so that's why I just put it at the number 33 spot. Still a really nice looking car, but it's only the first generation one. Again, massive respect to Rocket League for putting like a truck type style in the Rocket Pass. But I don't know if it's because I'm not really a big fan of trucks or something like that. But at the number 32 spot, we're going to have our first GXT version of this entire list, which is going to, actually no, that's not true. We had the Nomad, but we have the second one, which is the Harbinger GXT version. Again, this one's a little bit lower because it does look really cool and intimidating out on the road, especially when those flames are coming out. Those are pretty sick. But again, at the end of the day, I'm just not a huge fan of trucks. I don't think I've actually really even used... Yeah, I've never won a game with this. I don't think I've ever played with this. I think I played with the normal one for a video. Yeah, like I said, and then the 01, the Harbinger GXT is just not one of my favorites. So it's still a cool looking vehicle, but at the number 32 spot, we do have the Harbinger GXT. At the number 31 spot, we do have the Emperor car, or the Imperial car, however you like to say it. I don't even know if there's a difference or not. Maybe I'm just not the brightest in the bunch. But this car actually is another one of those that I'm just not a huge fan of muscle cars, but it definitely looks a lot better than the Harbinger GXT. This one is a slick design. It's a nice little muscle car. It's actually our first muscle car that we've ever had. And again, this is just a personal opinion. I'm not a huge fan of muscle cars. I've used this a couple times though. I do have 5 wins with it. But at the end of the day, it is a muscle car, and I'm just not a huge fan of them. So at the number 31 spot, we do have the Emperor, or the Imperial, however you like to say it. I don't even know if there's a difference. At the number 30 spot, we do have the Volkswagen RLE edition. Again, another one that might get some massive hate in this video here, but it's like the same design, just with a carbon fiber and a little spoiler. I think that's about it, to be honest with you, and a little tow hook right on the front. If we take a look at it, yeah, it's really, there's really not too big of a difference. You got some wide body. Is it even wide body? No, it's not even wide body, but the carbon fiber hood is really cool. This is a nice design, but again, it kind of looks like just a cooped out minivan. This is obviously just me personally, who does not like this design in real life or in the game, so obviously it's going to reflect in that way. So yeah, this one might get some hate, but at the number 30 spot, we have the Volkswagen Golf GTI RLE edition. Super long name again, but again, 30 spot, it just has to go there. At the number 29 spot, we do have the Maestro. This one actually took a huge jump from last year. Last year was around the number 30s area. This year, I felt like it was just really nice. Like, I don't use it very often, unfortunately, but it just looks classy. It looks nice, and it looks really good, especially with only being the only painted Rocket Pass car to have gold in it. That's pretty cool, but that has no effect on this ranking list. It's just, I thought I would mention that. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty nice, classy Rolls Royce, I guess you could say, because it's supposed to be a Rolls Royce in a way. So that's why I think it just deserves the number 29 spot. So at the number 29 spot, we do have the Maestro. At the number 28 spot, we do have the Pancake car. No, I'm just kidding. It's the Ronin. The number 28 spot, it is the Ronin. This is another really clean, cool looking sports car that we used to get all the time in the Rocket Pass. And I'm not complaining about these new ones, especially since a lot of these new ones are very down in the list. But at the number 28 spot, we do have the first generation of the Ronin. I call it the Pancake car because it is really flat. In a way, without the spoiler, I feel it could be more flat, but at the end of the day, this is a really cool looking car, and we have a couple of cooler versions that you'll see very shortly that you probably just saw by accident, but you don't know what rank I listed at the mat. But yeah, at the number 28 spot, it is the Ronin. I think it is a really cool addition of a sports car, but other than that, it's just really flat like a pancake, so yeah. At the number 27 spot, we do have something that I know is going to get a lot of people mad in this one, but we do have the Emperor, or the Imperial 2 car. Now, again, I did mention multiple times that I'm not a huge fan of muscle cars, and this is obviously a muscle car. So that's why I just kind of ranked it so high. I think it is a really cool looking car, but it's just not for me. I do not like the look of it. I do think it looks better than the Ronin and the Volkswagen and all those, but just not really my favorite car to use. I don't think I've ever actually used this car. Let me see. No, I've never actually won a car or won this game, or maybe I've never used it or something like that. But yeah, it's just not one of my favorites. And actually, right back to back, you see this a couple times in this video, and you only really see it with the Rocket Pass cars. We have the Imperior 2 Scorched Edition. So this is at the number 26 spot. So it's the Imperior 2 Scorched, actually. I don't think I can even spell it out, so we're just going to do that. The only reason why it's actually at this one, 2726, is because it has almost the exact same design. Besides the fire, I'm not a huge fan of fire this year. I don't know if it's because it's winter time right now, but I hated the summer this year with how much heat we got. But at the end of the day, it is almost the exact same design with just flames coming out. Don't get me wrong, it is absolutely phenomenal looking. Just again, I'm not a huge fan of muscle cars. So at the number 27 spot, it is the Imperior 2. And then at the number 26 spot, it is the Imperior 2 Scorched Edition. At the number 25 spot, we do have the Chikara G1 this one is actually a little bit different than its counterpart from the normal, and then this is the G1. So this one gets a little bit more of a build up, a little bit more of a design. Again, the reason why I like this car is because of how nice it kind of creates like a speed racer design with, but that's why I think it's a little bit at this one. It's the Chikara G1 because it has a little bit more of a flashy design to it. I think it looks much better than obviously the normal version. So yeah, at the number 25 spot, we do have the Chikara G1. Staying with the G1 series type style, we have the 24 spot at the Mudcat G1. This one is again a little bit different from its counterpart, the normal. This one creates a little bit, it's kind of the same type of style with the Chikara G1. It's a little bit of a hint of a difference. We used to do this a long time, or not we, but Rocket League used to do this a long time ago where they would create 3 different versions. We have not seen that in a little bit, which is a little disappointing because I do like it. So that's the normal one, and then this is the G1. It gains a little bit, gains like a fake, I forget what that's called, to be honest with you, but it creates a couple skirts and stuff like that. So it's honestly pretty cool, but at the end of the day, you know, it's a Mudcat G1, first off-road vehicle that we ever got, and I'm still very much in love with the design of it, especially with the GXT version. But at the number 24 spot, we do have the Mudcat G1. At the number 23 spot, we do have the Imperior 2 Frozen Edition. The only reason why I like this one a little bit better is because it has a frozen effect to it. We actually have not gotten this type of effect in a while, and I do really miss it because I feel like this was such an innovative design for a Rocket Pass, coming out with the Imperior 2, and then like a Scorched and a Frozen Edition. That one is a really cool thing. The only reason why it's holding back a little bit is because it's a muscle car. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the muscle car, and so ironically, a lot of people might switch this one up with the Scorched one. A lot of people might put the Frozen one like where I put it, and then the Scorched one down here because it kind of resembles more of like a muscle car with the flames spitting out. But I feel like I like Iced 10 times better. Not that I'm going to change the colors, but I feel like, I mean, you can't do too great of a designer with it or anything. I mean, you can do a great design with it, but at the end of the day, I like the cold a little bit better, so that's why, and I like the effect a little bit better. So at the number 23 spot, we have the Imperior Frozen Edition. At the number 22 spot, we have again another GXT version, and this one actually has made a ginormous jump from last year, meaning last year it was at the number 6 spot for being creative, innovative, and stuff like that, but this year, not so much. Okay, I put an end to it, like I said earlier. At the number 22 spot, we do have the Outlaw GXT. Yes, it has gone from all the way number 6 spot to almost out of, or it is actually entirely out of the top 20, which is pretty wild. Do not get me wrong, this is an amazing, good looking, cool car to use if you're kind of in that, like, I forget the Mad Max racing type style, but it just, there's so many better Rocket Pass cars. So at the number 22 spot, we have the Outlaw GXT. At the number 21 spot, we do have the Artemis GXT. Now, this one also really hurts because this was the second Rocket Pass car to ever exist, and I actually used this car so much. I had 193 wins with it, but everything must come to an end. Last year, I actually ranked this around the 8th or 9th or 10th spot. This year, it is not even in the top 20. It is an insanely looking good car. The only problem is it's just weirdly looking, like as in a way of like it's coolly designed, but I was not feeling it this year. So just at the number 21 spot, it has to be the Artemis GXT. This one took a massive hit from last year, but this year, more honest. At the number 20 spot, we do have the R3MX, or the remix car. This one is an insanely good looking car for just being a first generation. It is by far not like, I think it's on the third top car in Rocket League for non like GXT for in my list, obviously. But yeah, the R3MX is absolutely phenomenal. If you guys don't remember, this was a part of the season 3 music free to play. This one was pretty cool. Obviously, the R3MX, or the remix as it's properly pronounced, I guess you could say. It is an insanely looking car, and if I were to own this car, just this version, I'd be pretty happy about it. Now, unfortunately, it is not tradable because I don't really know why. But at the end of the day, at the number 20 spot, we have the R3MX, or the remix. At the number 19 spot, we do have the Honda Civic Type R. I believe, if I remember correctly, this was one of the first real life cars to ever come into Rocket League, and it is honestly really cool. Now, I did this extremely dirty last year. I think I put it around the number 30 spot. This year, it is finally inside the top 20, and I do have a reason of why. This car, I think, is a little bit better than the Volkswagen as well as the Nissan Silvia, and I think this one just looks like a little bit more of a JDM version, like a JDM car, I guess you could say. Now, I do think it looks like a van a little bit. It does look like a family car, but I associate myself with the Honda Civic a little bit more as a JDM car than the Volkswagen Golf GTI series. Again, I'm not too really familiar with those series to begin with, but I think the Honda Civic just looks a little bit better in that aspect. Don't get me wrong, it still looks like a minivan, but it reminds me a little bit more of a JDM car. So at the number 19 spot, just scraping into the top 20, we do have the Honda Civic Type R. At the number 18 spot, we have the Ronin G1. Now, this is obviously a better version of the Ronin first series. This one is the G1, which if you guys don't know, back then we used to do 1, 2, 3 different cars in the entire Rocket Pass, which I kind of do miss in a sense. But yeah, at the number 18 spot, we have the Ronin G1. I didn't use this one too often because I think I got the GXT version pretty immediately, but the Ronin is a very cool one, but the Ronin G1 just steps it up a little bit. It splits the spoiler in half, gets a little bit better of a cosmetic upgrade to it. So that's why I decided to put it a little bit higher, obviously. We have the number 18 spot as the Ronin G1. At the number 17 spot, we do have the normal Guardian. Yes, you heard that right. A normal Guardian beats out almost the GXT versions, a couple of Honda or the G1 series. I think the Guardian is a phenomenal looking car, and it only gets better from here. This Guardian is such a clean looking car, but surprisingly, this is not the lowest normal version of a car. We're going to see 2 more in the next couple right now. But yeah, the Guardian definitely deserves a little bit of a lower on the list than some of these GXT versions because it looks absolutely phenomenal. And the Tyranno just beats out the Guardian by a little bit. The Tyranno is at the number 16 spot, and this is another normal, just bland version which looks so good. If I were to get this car again, I would be happy with it. I don't even need the better version. This version looks so good. It looks so intimidating. It looks absolutely phenomenal. There's actually only one car in this entire series that beats out this one, and that one is just, yeah, they're both so amazing. This list between 16 and 15 is a very hard list to do in my opinion, but yeah, at the number 16 spot, it's going to be the Tyranno. And then just beating it out, literally just almost, we have the Maverick, the first generation one. Yes, I think this is an absolute one of the best cars that you can get as a normal bland version. And yes, this one actually is tradable. The Maverick normal, Maverick G1, and then finally the GXT version, all are tradable, and I think that's the only Rocket Pass car that does that. This car is just absolutely phenomenal looking. If I remember correctly, this one is based off of the Mercedes SLS series or something like that. I really forget. I'm not big into the Mercedes, but this is just an absolute phenomenal car to use. Even not as the GXT or the G1 version, this one just looks so good. It looks so menacing as a bland version of the Maverick. So at the number 15 spot, we have the Maverick, which is by far, actually no, there's one more lower, sort of. At the number 14 spot, we have the Nexus SC, the last version of the entire Nexus series. And this was a good version, right? This one's really cool. I like the space themed around it. If I remember correctly, this was season 5. Honestly, a phenomenal last version to end the Nexus. It looks like an astronaut type of car, and I gotta give them props to that. And the coolest thing about this entire car isn't on the body itself, but it's actually the effect that it gives when you put on a trail. That is just the coolest effect of all time when it comes to Rocket Pass cars. We need something more like this, Rocket League, where it's kind of one of these hidden features that you just put on any trail and it will change, or it will just absolutely look so cool. Now, obviously, it's based off of the primary car, so if I had a sky blue, it's gonna, or if I had a forest green, it's gonna have a sky or a forest green effect. So that is still just one of the coolest things of all time. But looks wise, the Nexus SC is going to be at the number 14 spot. I think it is really cool looking. It is an astronaut feel to it, but there's just so many better looking cars. So at the number 14 spot, it is the Nexus SC. At the number 13 spot, right next to almost better, or almost close enough to the normal Guardian, we have the Guardian G1. Now, this one obviously gets a little bit more of a spoiler. It gets a little bit more of a skirt at the bottom there, and a couple on the side. I do believe, if I'm looking at it, yeah, it does get a little bit of an upgrade. It does look extremely nice, though, compared to the normal Guardian version. So this one, at the number 13 spot, the Guardian G1, I think it looks so cool. Again, this is another one of those that if I just got the G1 version, I wouldn't even be mad. This thing looks absolutely phenomenal. It's got that racer type feeling. So at the number 13 spot, we do have the Guardian G1. At the number 12 spot, we have the last rendition of the Honda Civic RLE at the number 12 spot. And this one is so cool. I mean, it's lowered. It's got a carbon fiber hood, carbon fiber wide body, a couple a spoiler in the back, and it looks like a, I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you, in the back. But yeah, it just looks so much better than the normal Honda Civic, obviously. And, you know, it's pretty basic. Other than that, it does look a lot better. Instead of like a minivan, it's a cooler minivan. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, at the number 12 spot, it's just going to be the Honda Civic RLE version. I think it is pretty cool, but at the end of the day, it still looks like a minivan to me. Definitely a little bit cooler than some of these. But yeah, at the number 12 spot, the Honda Civic RLE. In a surprising turn of events that I was not aware of myself, apparently I do not own the Maverick G1. Which I'm really shocked about, because I was very like excited to have every single Rocket Pass car, but I guess I forgot from last year. But at the number 11 spot, yeah, it is the number 11 spot. At the number 11 spot, we do have the Maverick G1. Now, this one is by far, I think, one of the coolest G1 series of all time. This one takes the cake if we were just doing G1 series. I think the reason why I like this one so much better is not because just the design, but because of the way it looks. It's got that spoiler, it's got that hood cap, I think it is what it's called. It's got a lower body. I honestly love the Maverick G1 so much, and it should hint a little bit into the future here. But at the number 11 spot, we're just going to have the Maverick G1 take the cake for the best G1 looking car in the game. We are down to the final 10. How's my list been so far? Have I messed a couple things up? I definitely have. Anyway, at the number 10 spot, we do have the Ronin GXT. This is the first top 10 GXT version that we've had, and this one took a little bit of a hit from last year. I will say there's definitely been a couple of cooler looking cars that you will see, but at the number 10 spot, it is going to be the Ronin GXT. I love the way these stickers look. It glows. It looks so nice. It looks absolutely phenomenal, especially if we put on some of the higher settings that we did not do throughout the entire video, but that is okay. As you can see here, it just looks absolutely phenomenal. The way the lights glow, the way this like kind of design is, it just looks really cool. But at the end of the day, it's still a little bit too, not flat for me in a way, but in a way where it just, there's a couple cool versions. So yeah, at the number 10 spot, we have the Ronin GXT. At the number 9 spot, we do have the R3MX GXT, or the Remix GXT. The reason why this one is actually before, or at the number 9 spot instead of at the number 10 spot, instead of switching the two, I do like the way the Ronin GXT looks a little bit better, but with the R3MX, it looks like more of a race car type feel to it, like as in I would actually use it in game in a way. Not saying that I wouldn't use the Ronin, but you guys know what I mean. It just looks way better than the Ronin. It looks like a car that just, you know, the only thing that I do not like, and there's one complaint I have about this Remix car, is that the flames that you see here, why don't they change color? why don't they change to your primary or even accent color? Why don't they? So like the blue side is impossible to do a design with, while the orange side looks absolutely phenomenal to do a design with. So I'm really confused of why they did that, but other than that, a great looking car. At the number 9 spot, we do have the Remix GXT, or the R3MX GXT. I could not let this car go. No matter what I did, I could not put this above the top 10. The reason why this is because I just absolutely love the outdoorsy, the rally car type feeling that you can get from the Mudcat GXT version. You got the high LEDs right here. You got about 6, I think, 3, 6. Yeah, you got 6 LED lights in the front, giving it more of that rally type feeling. I absolutely love the way it looks. On top of that, you got the stickers floating around. I think it just looks absolutely phenomenal. I could not put this any lower or any higher. I think this just fits so nicely. I've used this car a lot. Only 68 wins, but it's still a lot compared to a lot of the things. I need to start using this car a little bit more. But at the number 8 spot, we have the Mudcat GXT. For all you people who think I was just hating on the Nissan Silvia, putting it so high up on the list, I promise you the RLE1 is 10 times better. That's why it deserves the number 7 spot. I think this car is just 10 times better looking. It doesn't look like a grandma car. It looks like a car that I would absolutely go drifting around the blocks with, and it just looks absolutely phenomenal. The carbon fiber there at the wide bodied, and it just looks so good. The lower skirts here at the bottom, the spoiler, it looks like something I would actually drive, like I said, drifting around the town, instead of without all of this. It literally just looks like a grandma car. So at the number 7 spot, we have the Nissan Silvia RLE. I hope I did it some justice, because honestly, I think I did. At the number 6 spot, we do have the Porsche 911 Turbo, one of the newest cars from this list. And actually, I think this is the newest car. Yeah, I think this is by far one of the newest cars. Let me just double check that. I'm like 90% sure. Yeah, literally the newest car out of this entire list this season is already at the number 6 spot. When I first saw this Porsche 911 Turbo, the normal edition, I actually thought it was better than the GXT version or the RLE version. But then I got to it in game and I was like, no. This car still looks absolutely phenomenal. This is the lowest Porsche, or this is the lowest non-RLE, non-GXT, non-G1 series car of all time. It is the Porsche 911 Turbo. It looks absolutely phenomenal. If you were to either get this one or this one, I wouldn't even be mad. The RLE version or this one, I would not be mad on either one that I get. I think this car looks just absolutely so clean looking, so phenomenal looking, and that is why it deserves the number 6 spot. The lowest car, non-RLE edition, non-GXT version of all time. So at the number 6 spot, it is the Porsche 911 Turbo. The only reason why the Porsche 911 Turbo is below or above all of these other GXT versions is because of the way that some of these GXT versions just look so well. So starting off at the top 5 list, we do have the Jakara GXT. By far one of the best light show performances that you get on a GXT version. This is still one of my favorite designs, as in like lights wise, on a Rocket Pass car. I think the lights look absolutely phenomenal. They're not too distracting in my opinion. They go so well with the accent color as well. As you can see, it change, like you can literally just create a design like that. There's so many possibilities that you have on this one. The only reason why it's a downside is because it's really flat, and it does have that speed racer type feeling that I just, I really do like it, but at the end of the day, it's just, really flat, and I would never actually use it. But the Jakara GXT is by far one of the best light show cars that you get from a GXT car in the Rocket Pass, and that is why it deserves the number 5 spot in this list, beating out the Porsche 911. That is right, son, sort of. At the number 4 spot, we do have a little bit of a smaller light show, but nonetheless a little bit of a better looking car. At the number 4 spot, we do have the Guardian GXT, and this is another one of those designs that I just absolutely love. The reason why is the light show. It starts with the accent color and then works its way into its primary color. This is one of those cars that you can actually just do a design with literally just the lights. It doesn't look as good as the Jakara, but it definitely looks a lot better of like a, car that I would actually use in game. I think this is a phenomenal looking car, and it looks very good, especially with the spoiler. Now, it actually has the exact same design as the Guardian G1, but if you notice in a lot of these ones, the Guardian or the G1 series versus the GXT version, their only difference is that they have more lights. They have a little bit of a better light show and stuff like that. So that is the only difference between the two. But the lights are what really make the design for me. So yeah, at the number 4 spot, it is going to be the Guardian GXT. But it still cannot beat out the Tyranno GXT. This thing is just an absolute menace on the field, dude. Look at this thing. Now, there's only 2 versions of this that I was not actually aware of. I thought there was a G1. Thank gosh I didn't put it. But this is the normal one. And then just look at the upgrade. Boom. It looks like Optimus Prime just absolutely got the parts from that in that Revenge of the Fallen. Dude, he looks like a beast. This Tyranno GXT was actually at the number 2 spot last year. It got beat out by one other car that you'll see just next. But this thing is an absolute beast on the road. It is absolutely looking phenomenal. So at the number 3 spot, we have the Tyranno GXT looking like an absolute beast on the vehicle or on the car. Now, I know this one's going to get some hate. I'm very well aware of that because the GXT versions have a light show. They look cooler, blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you, I don't know if it's because like I really enjoy the Porsche 911's looks in this game or not, but this spoiler just absolutely makes it for me. Now, I remember seeing the Porsche 911 Turbo and or the RLE version and the non-RLE, and I was like, on screen, like on a video, the normal one looks 10 times better. And then I finally got it, and I was like, no, this thing is way better. This normal or this RLE version is 10 times better. Now, the only thing it lacks is the lights, but that is because I think it's a real life car. They're not going to put lights on a real life car. I think it's perfect the way it is. It looks clean. It looks really good. So you could argue with me that you could probably put this at the top 5. If you were going to completely shape this list, in my opinion, top 5, I would probably I would probably say understandably, put this at the number 5 spot and then put all of the other GXT versions below that. I would understand that a lot, but in my opinion, the Porsche 911 RLE Edition Turbo definitely deserves a number 2 spot on this list for how clean it just absolutely looks. Now, unfortunately, the way this car looks, it still cannot beat the number 1 spot, and I'm sure you guys know it by now. At the number 1 spot, and also the first ever Rocket Pass car to ever come out in Rocket League, the Maverick GXT. This thing still cannot be beat in my opinion. I have used this car more than any Rocket Pass car in the entire world. 673 wins with it. I would have more with it, but the Octane kind of took over when I got into GC area. But I don't know what it is about this car. I know it's not nostalgia at this point because like I wouldn't have ranked nostalgia. There's so many ranking videos that I would have, if I based it off of nostalgia, the list would be entirely different. But the Maverick GXT still holds up to its name, and maybe it's because of the Rocket Pass design in the middle that just still unfortunately has gone away on the main menu, as you can see here, but it hasn't gone away here. I mean, looking at this thing just back in this Rocket Pass shop area just brings back so many memories. On top of that, I mean, look at the logos. I mean, the logos look, I mean, they are exactly the same thing. So I don't know what it is about this car, but this thing still just brings me back to using it from time to time. I actually still use it from time to time when I'm in a run with one of my cars or something like that. I always either switch to the Maverick. I now have the Cars vehicle that I main, but I usually switch from the Octane to the Maverick to even the Jaeger sometimes. So yeah, the Maverick GXT is just an absolute phenomenal piece of work that Rocket League, you know, I think has not topped it since. And I know that's a really hot topic because you could argue the Porsche 911 is very close, but this Maverick GXT is still a hot topic. I don't have many colors. I only have the gray, the pink, the purple, and then I was very fortunate enough to get the titanium white version, and this thing is just an absolute beast on the vehicle, or on the pitch. So yeah, at the number 1 spot, it is still undefeated, the Maverick GXT. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. I'll see you guys in the next episode.